Okay, let's see. Yeah, this is a period in history where rights are being eroded aggressively by the Trump administration. People are literally being rounded up, sent to El Salvador prisons. The basic constitutional concepts of equal protection and due process are broadly under attack. In this context, it is especially disturbing to see the city of Ashland considering this ordinance that similarly undermines equal protection and due process protections. The 14th Amendment was ratified following the Civil War. It was a sort of compromise to address the rights of the freed slaves, a marginalized and impoverished population of people. 40 acres and a mule that were guaranteed to those people, and the freedmen's bureaus that were intended to educate the freed slaves were traded away for the right to vote and equal protection under the law. When we undermine these basic rights of equal protection, due process, we undermine these hard-fought battles to ensure justice to poor people and other marginalized people. This ordinance allows the police to target citizens for removal and exclusion from the commons based on the accusation of a petty misdemeanor. Despite a superficial petition to the court, the charge has no trial, no presumption of innocence. They are assumed guilty and denied their liberty to enter the commons under the threat of arrest and imprisonment. This is flagrantly in opposition to the basic due process demands of the Constitution. In this case, the charged then has the right to appeal after they've already been denied their basic rights to liberty. This procedurally, how does this even work? Obviously, one would appeal on the basis that they were improperly charged for the crime. Well, no record of conviction has been established. This simply procedurally doesn't work. What Bob brings forward, a proposal to allow them a trial over their pre-conviction conviction, the whole thing becomes procedurally so convoluted, it does not work. And this is establishing a very dangerous precedent. Imagine this applied to a community where we have a large minority of, say, black people, impoverished black people who are possibly more engaged in criminal activity. How does this apply to that community? I mean, we're an all-white community, but how would this apply to a black community? Ashland has been moving in a really good direction recently, trying to find real solutions. We have ORA. We've really done a good job, and let's continue down that path. We don't need to continue to go back the other direction towards enforcement. It just doesn't work to address this complicated problem of poverty.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So to answer the question of staff, which is specifically about moving forward with an ordinance with these elements identified in it, what I'd like to do is go around and just find out from each counselor, because we're just providing direction this evening, what that direction, what type of direction you would like to see for staff at this point. Whoever would like to go first, I'm happy to have folks go first. Councilor Dale.
Thank you, Mary. Yeah, in short, yes, as City Attorney talked about, we'll clearly have a study session, but my direction would be yes.
Councilor Blue?
Yeah, I'm not much interested in delaying this further, and I think it's appropriate to have this conversation now, but yes, and I also have not been dealing with this as long as Chief O'Meara has, but for the better part of the year, I've been looking at this issue and the case law around it, and I'm happy for anybody out there that is interested in actually understanding how this ELEO works and what the process is to sit down, have a phone conversation, have coffee, and walk through those steps. But yes, I would like this brought forward, and I would also, per my previous statement, would like to see the dog license element included in your what you bring forward.
Councilor Hansen?
Sure, thanks, Mayor. Chief, I appreciate that this came back with a lot of the direction that council gave previously implemented, so thank you. I mean, when it first came out, we requested a check and balance with the court, and we have that now. I'm still interested in that study session to know more about the data that's out there. I know that the business and resident community from south side of Ashland's there was a vocal population really asking for this. And so I'm still open to it, but I don't know yet whether I'm where I sit with it. So I appreciate the additional information and the hard work in it, and I look forward to the study session.
So you're a no. Just specifically, you don't want staff to come forward at this point with that ordinance. I have to tally.
Yes,
Okay.
correct. I'm a no. I would like more information.
Councilor DuQuenne?
Thank you, Mayor. I'm still kind of trying to digest the previous public little speech there. Anyway, yes, I am in favor of Chief coming back. We're almost there. We're almost there. Goodness, since February. I've seen good changes in moving forward, and I don't want to belabor this. And so if we are looking at things to come back as soon as possible, Chief, I'm hoping this can come back as soon as possible. And something that was mentioned earlier that I was going to bring up in moving forward, there is not necessarily an appeals process, because I was looking at that, and in the information that you gave us, you said the person would have 10 days to appeal. Well, what is that process? So maybe when you come back, that we could have a dollar amount and kind of know what that is, so that we can just put a bow on this and call it done the next time we get together.
Thank you. And the process is whatever we make it. So whatever the council wants to make it, we can make it that.
So we would discuss that at our study session.
Well, that's the question. When you say bring it forward, do you mean bring it forward as an ordinance back to this body, or bring it forward in a study session?
I would say maybe at our study session, if we could have a draft ordinance, I think that would be great for us to get the ball rolling so that we can put a bow on this.
So to
Sabrina?
clarify, what would come back in the study session is a draft ordinance for discussion.
Yes, thank you. Thank you, Chief.
Councilor Kaplan?
Yeah, I thought it was a little weird to have this as a presentation, and then our city attorney kind of called us to the carpet saying you can't ask too many questions about it because it's a presentation. So I think a study session is absolutely what this should have been, and I'm sorry that I don't know if we wasted a chunk of time here, but we certainly had you come here and hear from us a little bit. I have lots of questions, or several questions, and I raised some of them, so I'll be bringing those to the study session as well, and I'm happy to have a study session.
Councilor Hanson?
Thank you, Mayor. I appreciate that. And I appreciate the public testimony by everybody that showed up today. And I'm really curious, again, getting some refreshed data in front of us. Chief, if you could bring that forward with the draft ordinance. And then I'm also really curious about learning more about the Medford Municipal Outreach Court. And I'll look into it personally, but I will be bringing this up at the study session. And I wonder, we now have a municipal judge who I believe is being very effective and working through the cases very, very expeditiously. But this is really appealing to me, and I know that our unhoused community has a lot of barriers that other people don't have. So what is Outreach Court, and how could it benefit Ashlanders, the police department, unhoused, everybody? If it's something that we could incorporate in our community, I'd like to hear yes or no, based on some research on your part and your presentation would be great. And thank you.
And we'll tidy all this up at the end and have specific direction. Councilor Bloom?
Yeah, thank you. Just a quick note on the previous comments. I just think that it's important that everybody up here understands that what we are talking about and what the ELIA is about behavior. It is not about status, and I am very much open to having the conversation about an outreach court and more services, but they should be separated from this conversation, because this clearly very clearly in the legal language is about behavior, not status, and those two things should not be confused. Additionally, I would also request of staff, specifically city attorney, I sent over a legal matrix to you that you received. I think it would be helpful for council and the community to see that. It goes over what the due process legal standard is, what the proposed ELIA mechanism does, key cases referenced in that, and how the standard is met by the ELIA. I think it'd be a very useful tool for all of us.
Councillor Kaplan.
Yeah, thanks, Mayor. I just wanted to also echo what Councilor Hansen said about interest in some of these other programs, the outreach court. So if we're trying to really come up with some solutions to the situation that our police are finding on the ground, I'd like to put all these topics on the table and have a more robust discussion with the data that support the potential actions that we would be considering. So I'm looking forward to the study session.
So from taking the temperature of the council, it appears that we are headed towards another study session. And we have some specific information that the council would like. And as I go through these elements, I would like to see a head nod if this looks right. Yes. The question of the dog licenses and whether those are included. Is that something that you want brought back to that study session? And you don't have to answer each one, I just want a head nod.
Brought back for discussion, Mayor.
Brought back for discussion. Do we want to consider not having a licensed dog be an issue? Right now, not having a license is on the list for the ELIA, correct? Yes. Yes, so the question is, when they come back, there's a consideration to remove that dog license element and just make it a question of a dangerous dog, right?
Yes, correct.
Yes, okay, so yes, we will include that element, and we're going to talk about the outreach court separately. We're looking for some legal guidance. Does that sound right?
The draft.
Well, just legal guidance from our city attorney, and I mean, to his, in your best judgment. Is there interest in getting that legal read on this?
Yes.
Okay,
With
we'll
regard
include
to-
that.
with regard to-
We'll include that. And then separately or together, depending on how it works in terms of timing, it seems that what we also need alongside of this is a conversation with the judge, potentially, about the potential of an outreach court in our court system. How does that work?
So that needs to be a separate discussion.
Right.
As we are asking the judge to rule on something, we don't want to include him in that original conversation with the ordinance.
Right, as a separate conversation. So I think I've given the direction in terms of the ELIA. Chief, do you have any other questions that you need answered in terms of that study session?
I do not, thank you.
Okay, so then the second question is the question about the potential,
So I will reach out to the judge
Engage
and
the
talk
court.
to him about having a discussion about
Yes.
outreach court.
at whatever point we can bring that in. Okay, and everyone here is interested in hearing about that as a
Yes.
Okay. Councillor Hansen.
Yeah, I think this is the second time bringing Judge Mulkins into the conversation has been brought up. I don't know if you all recall back in February. So again, it was proposed as a separate study session and/or idea conversation, and I wholeheartedly support it. Now that it's coming back around with this other topic, I think it's super appropriate. And I would love to just get Judge Mulkins' take on this whole thing from whatever angle we can, whatever's appropriate and legal. But I appreciate the idea of bringing him into the fold somehow.
Well, I think those are two separate questions from what I was just hearing, and that we're requesting the legal read from our city attorney in terms of the ELIA, but then having a separate conversation in terms of the potential for the alternate court. Yes? Okay. Thank you, Chief. We now move on to our second special presentation, the comp and class study results. And we have our consultants. Are they coming in on Zoom? Yes. Yes.
Oh, no.
What happened?
He hit him.
Who hit
He
who?
was being racist. It was. Are criminals. That's what I said. I'm digesting.
Okay, we are going to take a 5-minute recess.
He was. Totally. That was a racist slur, that all black people are criminals. That's what I said. That's what he said. I was trying to come down from that.
So let's turn off our mics
It was
and just take a break.